So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the event planning, marketing, and sales session. I'd like to welcome you all again. My name is Nicole Rothenberger, and I'll be the moderator for this session. I was born and raised in Grand Forks, North Dakota. I'm a senior student at UND, currently triple majoring in Communications, International Studies, and Honors. Myself and the other two department campaign coordinators, as well as Dr. Lee, have been working over the past year to create this opportunity for incoming students, current students, as well as alumni. So please enjoy and use this opportunity to learn all that you really can. So again, welcome. Today, the Career Conference has been sponsored by Northwestern Mutual for the annual Communication Appreciation Day. Today's panel is going to be covering event planning, marketing, and sales. And before we begin, I would like to ask all of you to, again, introduce yourselves briefly if you haven't already. Just your name, your affiliation, job status for professionals, and then your school name and your grade for students. Just drop that into the chat box for housekeeping purposes, and then please make sure to mute yourselves until the end of the panel presentation when we open the floor for the Q&A. So before I introduce our panelists, I want to remind the high school students and families attending that the UND Comm department is hosting a scholarship opportunity for those who are here and planning to declare communication as their major at UND. So please refer to the document that I already posted in the chat box. All the information you need should be on that document. The panel is made up of 3 different UND communication alumni who showcase some of the best that UND has to offer. I'd like to introduce first Emily Hansen, who graduated in 2020 and currently works for the Alara Center as the Director of Marketing. And then I would like to introduce Amber Bania, who graduated in 2017 and currently works for AI Signal Research Inc. as the Business Development and Quality Manager. And then finally, I would like to introduce Lisa Martinez, who graduated in 2008 and currently works for UND as a marketing coordinator. Finally, as a last reminder, we'll open up the floor at the very end for a Q&A after the last panelist has finished her presentation. So if you come up with any questions during the presentations, write them into the chat, or we'll open it up at the very end. So without further ado, let's begin with Emily Hansen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Hansen. I graduated from the University of North Dakota last May during a pandemic. So that was pretty tricky to get back into the events industry, but I conquered it. So yeah, let's get started. So I actually started, I guess, my first bit of event experience was in my sorority. I was the director of parent and alumni relations. So through that, I put together a couple different moms weekends, dad's weekends, parent weekends, stuff like that. And then I was also able to network by having a bi-monthly newsletter that basically I just gave updates, stuff like that. And then I was fortunate to be the assistant director of campaign execution for our communication. It's the 430 class, the ad and PR campaign, and our client of that was the communication department. So through that, we actually launched the Instagram page and we created Communication Appreciation Day. So that's very exciting. And through that, I kind of got my taste for events, was just catapulted through there. And then also part-time during college, I worked at Alara Center, which is now where I am the director of marketing. Basically, I started in the ticket office with that, and then showed interest in the marketing side of things and got lucky and was able to get an internship with them and help manage their social media. I even gave some input as to how marketing plans would be put together for different events and stuff like that. And then probably a month or 2 before I graduated, the director of marketing position opened up. So Dr. Lee, I guess, he helped me push me to apply for a job that I thought was shooting for the stars, but I got it by a stroke of luck, I think. And with all of the experience that I had through the communication department, especially, I mean, showing up with actual materials of what my team and I had created, I think spoke volumes for someone that's just stepping out of college. So I think definitely without that COM 430 class, I would not have been able to be in the position I am today. And then now in my current role, it's been kind of tricky being that it is during a pandemic. But this summer we were challenged with, how can we host events when we shouldn't have anyone getting together closer than 6 feet. So that's when a couple of us were sitting in a conference room and came up with Fall Flicks, which was a 2-night or 2-weekend, I guess, drive-in movie series. So we were able to partner up with some local businesses. And through that, it really took off my, I guess, position for director of marketing. So that was great. And then we also had some drive-in concerts this summer as well. I think we had Metallica, which is a huge hit here in Grand Forks, as well as Kane Brown. That was very exciting. I got to be part of a proposal. So that was great, first experience, and definitely wholesome to be a part of that. And then now that things are kind of picking back up again, we just had a 2-day PBR event last weekend, and that was very exciting. I actually got to be back in the shoots for that, get some content for our social media. But basically, with my current role, it's a lot of talking with promoters. It's making the promoters very, very happy. I get a budget, which was nice because I know with that COM 430 class, I kind of had to oversee the budget for our whole campaign. So that was really great experience as well. And then with that, I get my budget. I get with, I should say, my media partners, so TV representatives, radio reps, and even billboards. And with that, I kind of play around with the budget, see what we can book. And then I make sure that the promoter okays it. And from there, I really just go with executing my marketing plan. So again, right back to that Communication 430 class, I would be lost without it. It gave me all the experience that I definitely needed. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Emily.
you bet.
And so now we'll move on to Amber Bunya's presentation. I believe she's feeling under the weather, so she's not going to turn on her camera immediately, but I believe she has a presentation. Amber?
Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to figure out how to share my screen. Is it sharing? Can you guys see my screen?
No, but I can share for you if you'd like.
Okay, I apologize. I'm not very familiar with Zoom. I actually work in the Department of Defense, and we're only allowed to use Microsoft Teams. So I'm a whiz at Microsoft Teams. I hit the share the screen buttons. Oh, okay, hold on. I see. How's that?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, I apologize. So when I woke up feeling under the weather, I went ahead and threw my headshot on the front and throughout, just so maybe you can feel like I'm here with you. My name is Amber Bunya, and I'm a wife and mother of 3 children. I currently work full-time for a Department of Defense contractor in the Rocket City, or as most probably know it, Huntsville, Alabama. I attended UND 100% online, obtaining a bachelor's degree. I had a marketing internship with Cummings Research Park, which is the 2nd largest research park in the United States and the 4th largest in the world. I landed at UND kind of by accident. I did an online search, and I wanted a state school that offered a degree in communications that was 100% online. And I'm so thankful that I found UND because they really equipped me with the skill set I needed to go out into the job market. I've had 2 roles, director of marketing for a RE/MAX brokerage, and I'm currently the business development and quality manager for a DoD contractor. So you can see the 2 types of courses that I took really helped me excel in this role. And if you're interested in the course numbers or the professors I had classes with, you can email me and I can get those to you sometime this week. I will say there hasn't been anything in the roles, my 2 roles, that I wasn't prepared for, because the courses and the professors really did an excellent job preparing me, even though it was all online. So I apologize. I opted to take one element of the roles, like graphics, to illustrate the differences between the 2 roles. So this is just a quick visual of how the 2 roles use the same core competencies, but are different in execution. The marketing role was heavy in things like business cards, for sale sign creation, flyers for homes, billboards. And my role in business development uses graphics in proposals, like the engineering V model on the right side, line graphs, pie charts, things of that nature. Some social media graphics are thrown in the LinkedIn from time to time as well. The Remax brokerage that I worked for, they're consistently awarded the #1 producer in the state. It's a family-owned business, and the owners have been involved in real estate for over 30 years. So the brokerage had a large number, at 40, give or take, realtors in the office, and I would create marketing plans and materials for any agent that needed help marketing their business, along with the 10 business entities that came under the umbrella of the brokerage. So you had the real estate side, and then you had like the new construction side. So I worked for 3 different builders marketing their homes. And then you had 5 different neighborhoods where I would do marketing for the 5 different neighborhoods. Anything from HOA newsletters to social media pages to hosting events in these neighborhoods to drive traffic to the neighborhoods. So my current role, well, I want to back up a minute. ASRI has been a Department of Defense contracting company for over 30 years. And it started out with our founder creating an artificial intelligence product to analyze the vibrations of the space shuttle main engine for NASA. And eventually that grew into being used for missiles in the defense sector. So I wear many hats, but my most important role is to help our company respond to what they call requests for proposals that the government puts out for work that they're needing to be completed. So I help put together a proposal to submit to the government that showcases our technical ability, our past performance ability, our ability to retain top talent, basically that's recruiting, the ability to perform such tasks. And there's some graphics that go into the actual proposal itself as well. Graphics, in fact, are becoming more important in proposals because proposals have page limits. The government, will cut you off at 100 pages or whatever. And we all know a picture is worth 1,000 words. So you can imagine how far graphics can go in a proposal. So I just kind of put up here my job title, my current company, and the requirements that I needed to meet in order to be able to work for a Department of Defense contractor. So I mentioned, or I may have mentioned, that business development is what the government calls marketing. So my role is really broken down into 3 sections. There's business development, quality management, and employee and community relations. So these three sections all contribute to the growth of the company in their own way. I talked a little bit. Oh, I may have. Okay, yeah. I talked a little bit about proposals earlier because my current role is very proposal centric. But as we continue to grow as a company, I'd like to move more into the capture management area. This is kind of where extroverts shine. There's a lot of networking involved in meeting with other DoD contractors to go after new opportunities together. You see where your strengths and weaknesses are as a company, and then which is called a gap analysis. And then you speak to senior leadership in another company and in hopes of teaming with them, with the other company, because they're stronger in the areas that you're weaker in. And you work together and you deliver whatever services or products the government is asking for in their request for proposal. So that's kind of a very top level breakdown of what capture management is and where I would like to carve out a niche for me as my company continues to grow. Quality management is a process we follow and a certification we get with annual audits to be able to tell the government that we are a quality company and we have a proven way of doing things. That's really all that is. It's not very exciting, but it's a necessity. So an ASRI in action is something that I started with the encouragement of our senior leadership shortly after starting at ASRI. It's a two-part initiative, one that allows our employees to put money into a corporate charity fund, and then we'll elect at the end of the year what 501c3 charities we want to give back to. And then the other part is corporate days of community service. So we really wanted to stand out as a company that will provide goodwill where we live and work. That's really all I have. Thank you for the opportunity to share what a degree in communications from UND has done for me. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask or email me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Amber. So finally, I'd like to move on to the last presentation for the event planning, marketing, and sales panel, Lisa Martinez.
All right, so hello, everyone. Again, Lisa Martinez. Thank you for tuning in today. I am a Grand Forks native, and I graduated from UND in December 2008 with a BA in communication. And so I am currently a marketing coordinator in the UND Division of Marketing and Communications. But today I'll probably mostly be focusing on a position I held for the first 9 years of my marketing career. And so I actually started at our local United Way here in Grand Forks. And when I first started in 2010, like truthfully, I had no idea what United Way did. And so, of course, in preparation for the interview, I went online and learned as much as I could about the organization and the work they were doing, and then just a little about, the team that I could potentially be joining. And so when I went in for my interview, they were very open and honest about the fact that it was the first marketing position that they would be hiring. And because they were a small office, it was only 4 people at that time, they were really looking for someone who was willing and able to wear a lot of different hats. And for me, because I wasn't quite sure, what area of the communication field I might wind up in, I took a variety of courses while I was at UND. And so I told them that I would be okay working in a lot of different roles. And so they hired me on. It started as a part-time position, and then they brought me on full-time after a year. And so one of my first tasks with United Way was to get them on social media. Like, I know it's kind of unfathomable now to imagine, an organization or a company not having an online presence, but at that time they did not. And so, I got them up and running on Facebook and Twitter, and, did what I could to start building that social media following. And from there, it was a little of, trial and error of, trying to figure out what kind of content would resonate with our new followers and what they were kind of looking for us from social media. In addition to social media, I was also the public relations manager. And so at one point during my career at UND, I was strongly leaning toward public relations. And so I had taken quite a few courses. There was a writing for PR, intro to media writing, principles of public relations. I think I even took a PR practicum at one point. And so just based on the knowledge, the experience that I gained from those courses, I was very comfortable interacting with the media, writing and distributing news releases. And then I even had to, on several occasions, appear on camera for interviews. And that's also where the often dreaded, public speaking course really came in handy. So I also, of course, was in charge of our advertising. I had taken an advertising media planning class, and that proved really beneficial when it came to conducting all of our media buys. So print, radio, TV, digital, just kind of coordinating a marketing schedule amongst all of those outlets kind of throughout our campaign. And then I was also, graphic designer, the webmaster, photographer, having to document all of our different events and the work that we were doing. And then, of course, I was event planner. And so every year we hosted a big kickoff event at the start of our fundraising campaign. And so, it was my job to decide whether or not we were going to go with a theme that year for the campaign and what kind of event we wanted to host. And then just kind of planning it out from beginning to end and coordinating volunteers and all of that sort of thing. I was also in charge of coordinating the annual Toys for Tots drive and distribution. So those were the two largest events I was in charge of at United Way. And so again, some really great courses that I took within the College of Arts and Sciences. But as a UND student, you also have to take some general education courses or essential studies. And so for me, when it came time to decide kind of what general courses I wanted to take, I really looked for things that I thought could complement the communication degree that I was working toward. And so through the art department, I discovered an intro to visual art course and visual persuasion. And there was a graphic design fundamentals. And I had taken graphic design through the communication department, but the one through the art school offered a completely different perspective. And so, one was very technical, the nitty gritty how to of graphic design. But through the art department, it was more of the, we'll say like kind of the psychological aspect of design of, what colors people respond to and visuals and how a layout affects the way people react to things. And so it was incredibly valuable to have both of those perspectives. And it was really helpful when I was designing campaign brochures and campaign posters and, building out some of our newspaper ads. And then for me, I also chose to focus heavily on writing. I just thought if I'm going to work in the communication field, I need to be able to write well and to communicate well. And so in addition to composition courses, I took an intro to creative writing class because I wanted to learn how to, really craft narratives and how to tell stories that would resonate with people. And then I took an intro to poetry class because that was really just about me kind of challenging myself as a writer. And then there was a technical and business writing class that proved to be really helpful also. So, again, for me, I just did what I could to build, a well-rounded skill set with writing, because of course, writing a social media post is very different from writing a news release, and that's very different from writing a blog post. And so again, I wanted to have some of that experience and the knowledge of writing for a variety of audiences on a variety of different platforms. And so again, like overall, the classes I took within the arts and sciences and outside of arts and sciences really did prepare me well for that first position at United Way. And then, of course, the work I was able to do at United Way really paved a nice foundation for the position I'm in now at UND. I work with print vendors on different promotional pieces of materials. I collaborate with all sorts of departments and programs across campus. And then, of course, just the general project management. Again, at United Way, I was in charge of seeing projects through from start to finish, everything from graphic design to video production to events. So in July, it'll be 2 years that I've been at UND, and I consider myself very lucky to be a part of a really great team. I have had the opportunity to work on some really fun campaigns. Last year, I was part of a marketing PR team that we ended up winning an award for a med school campaign that we did. So that was really cool. More recently, I worked on some projects with the College of Arts and Sciences. So we had created some promotional pieces that they'll be distributed to prospective students when they come to campus for visits. So again, just kind of overall, looking at my experience at UND, all the different courses that I took, the skills and the knowledge that I gained, I would say UND and Arts and Sciences were greatly beneficial in helping me get to where I am in my career today. So again, I thank you for tuning in. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you to the 3 of our panelists we had today. I'd like to open up the floor now for a 10-minute Q&A. Does anyone have any questions offhand? You can just chime in, type it into the box. If not, I have some that were pre-sent in from the form. So I'll just get started with asking those. First of all, how do you get started in the event planning business? I had an internship summer 2020, but because of COVID, I didn't get the experience I was hoping to, and I'm not sure how to get started in that field. So if anyone wants to chime in.
I can chime in. I know with Alaris Center, we have a venue management sort of umbrella. So if you want to stick in events, if you want to do, maybe it's weddings, meetings, if you want to go to the concerts and the big family shows, definitely look at spectraexperience.com. A lot of venues are hiring right now, even if it's marketing coordinator. They might not be local, but if you're really dedicated and you want to do it, take that leap.
Anyone else have anything to say about that question? No? Okay. So the second question is, did you major in the career field that you are currently working in? And then how did you get started in that career field? What experiences, projects, and skills do you feel have directly correlated to being hired and being successful in your field?
I can go again. With my communication degree, I knew that it was going to be a challenge. I knew that I had the competition of everyone with a marketing degree that was applying for the same job. So it was tricky, but I do think with the experience that you get within the communication department here at the University of North Dakota, it's unreal. You're right up there with them, and you've got the real experience, especially with that ad and PR course. And yeah, and like I said too, being able to show up at a job interview with actual materials of what you've done, it's impressive. They were impressed. So, I mean, definitely take advantage of it.
Yeah, I was actually looking for the unmute button. I apologize. So one of the, and I echo Emily's sentiments. One of the things that I did in the very beginning was I would take the job posting, I would take the job tasks listed in the job posting and come up with, you know, what I did in my classes that were similar, and kind of put together a portfolio that was highly targeted to that one job posting, so that they really thought I would go in there and I really wanted that job. And of course I did at the time.
So, and for me, I was just kind of, a general communication major. And so again, I was really interested in public relations, but I was also open to other areas within the communication field. And it was actually a former classmate in arts and sciences who reached out to me and said, "Hey, did you see this listing for United Way?" And she was kind enough to send it over for me. And, and once I researched the organization and kind of got a general idea of, some of the work that would be involved, I was, really excited because it offered the great opportunity to utilize a lot of the knowledge and the skills that I had gained from my communication courses. So, and again, it started off part-time, which of course wasn't what, I was looking for full time at that point, but it was a step in the door. And so I went with it, and it ended up, turning into 9 years. So.
Great, thank you. Next, we have, how did you decide what type of event planning you wanted to get into?
I'll go ahead and start with this one. There's nothing like an event day at Alara Center. As soon as the lights go down and the show starts, like, you did it, you pulled it off, your work is almost done. You still have to take pictures of the event most of the time, but for the most part, you get to sit back and watch. And when you see like the ticket sales keep going up, it's because of the marketing efforts that you've put forth. And it's a very, very rewarding industry, although tiring at times. It's definitely rewarding.
So, and at United Way, event planning were just kind of, again, another hat that I ended up having to wear. And so for me, I actually really enjoyed planning out our events. It was really cool to like come up with the ideas and then see it go from just an idea to, the finished event at the end, and people showing up and being really excited that the event resonated and people were happy to be there. And so I would just say, of course, just being very well organized, writing a lot of things down, and giving yourself more time than you think you might need to plan something.
And I'm sorry. I was just going to say, for me, my primary role is not event centric, but I do have a lot of secondary roles within my corporation where I am able to event plan, so to speak. I plan the corporate Christmas parties. And with our ASRI in Action initiative, I get to select which 501c3 charities we give back to, and what days of service we do, and that's really meaningful to me.
Great, thank you all so much. Next, we have, what is one way that you feel the communication department best prepared you for your current career?
I really can't say it enough. That Communication 430 course was a saving grace. We had the event planning experience too, especially with the creation of Communication Appreciation Day. We went back and forth a lot, everyone in the class, with, what could we do? Could we do this? And then we finally came up with something that was more open-ended, where we just had, representatives of our department. What are they doing? Where are they now? Sort of thing. And it was definitely more of an informational event, but it was important to show people what you can do with the degree. So yeah, the Communication 430. Yes, definitely that one.
For me, it was really the classes, and little did I know back in 2017 how much being 100% online would be useful in the years to follow. But besides that, it was the marketing courses, for my marketing roles, and the journalism course focused courses for my business development roles. I really did a broad kind of communications. When I went back to school, I didn't have a set goal in mind. I just knew I wanted to get my degree in communications, and I was really open to whatever the world brought my way. And I'm just really happy that I felt really prepared for the job market upon graduation.
And for me, it was, of course, just the wide variety of classes that were offered, to the point where, going out into that first job post grad, I was, well prepared from what I had learned at UND, that I was comfortable taking a job in which I would have to wear several different hats and do all sorts of different activities day to day, being able to jump from PR to advertising to social media on any given day. And I felt very confident being able to do that because of the courses that I had taken at UND.
Great, thank you again. And then what is one thing you wish that you could have changed about your time in the UND communication department?
I wish I would have taken advantage of all of the Photoshop courses that they offered. A lot of my job entails having to alter graphics. And I know I started with Canva. Love Canva. It's so easy to use, very user friendly. But now I find myself in the position of constantly having to YouTube how to do just the most basic things on Photoshop. And it's silly and it's very time consuming, but I know I definitely wish I would have taken advantage of those courses that are offered within our program.
I echo that as well. There's a lot of Photoshop that is involved in graphics, and I wish I had taken more. Not that the courses I took were inadequate, because that's not the case at all. It's just I wish I took more of them. But of course, the biggest thing I wish I could change is taking classes online, since I was taking classes in person since I was 100% virtual. I wish I could be there on campus. But I'm, again, really.
And for me, I would say I wish I had taken another internship or two. Like, I took one my last year, and there's just nothing that compares to just being actually out in the field, like, hands on, being able to just kind of learn as you go, like in that environment. So yeah, I probably would, like I said, would have taken another internship or two.
Great. And then for the final question that I've prepared, what is one piece of advice that you have for someone that's interested in these types of fields?
I'd say definitely take chances. I know when I first applied at Alerus Center to be the box office supervisor, I didn't have any experience selling tickets. I had retail experience from a boutique in Grand Forks, and that was the extent of that. Really use your connections. Don't hesitate to reach out to me at all. I can leave my LinkedIn and email in the chat box, but yeah, definitely take a chance and try stuff out. I started in the box office and showed interest in marketing, and I was very fortunate to have the director of marketing at that time take me under his wing. And it was just, I kept asking questions. Never stop asking questions or showing interest in something that you want to pursue.
Yeah, definitely don't be afraid to put yourself out there and network.
And I would say always be seeking opportunities to grow and learn, and to always be gaining experience and building that resume.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the event planning, marketing, and sales panel. I believe now we're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll get started with the health communications panel. So thank you so much. And thank you to our 3 panelists today.